All right, welcome everyone. Today we have Remote Lock as a new partner. We're really excited to have this first connection that we do with one of the smart locks companies. So today with me we have Stuart. He's the COO for Remote Lock, and I'm Joan, for head of sales and marketing in Hostify. And the agenda for today is going to be just a bit of introduction of ourselves, then about Hostify. Then Stuart will let us know about Remote Lock. The fourth step will be obviously why this integration works and which benefit can it take our property managers out of it. And we will end up with some questions and answers from our clients. So first, if you'd like to introduce yourself a little bit, Stuart.
Hi, yes, my name's Stuart Duncan. I'm kind of general manager stroke COO at Remote Lock in Europe. I've worked with Remote Lock for 7 years now. So I've been on quite a journey with them, and I kind of know the product really well, and really looking forward to giving you some more information on what it is we can do for you.
Great. Thank you very much, Stuart. And I'm Joan, head of sales for marketing for Hostify. I've been working with the company for the last almost 2 years now. I manage all the teams for all over the world with the different companies that and clients that we have in US, Europe, and Australia. And I help also as well the marketing team in order to bring some more leads. So let's go and speak a little bit about Hostify. So we've been in the market right now almost 4 years. So it was founded in 2019. Since then we came a long way, even though we started almost after the first year with the COVID situation. We managed to grow quite a lot, and we helped our property managers to get more than 14 million bookings. We have over 30,000 listings spread, as we said. Three of the main markets that we have is the US, Europe, and Australia. But of course, we are growing now quite a lot in Latin America and many other countries as well in Asia. So that's the proof that we are quite well spread over 46 different countries. We have three main topics, or three main brand sentences that we usually have, which is work smarter. Of course, as you may know, this industry has come a long way, and all the property managers, they have many tasks and many inquiries from the clients, and they are getting more and more professionals. So we give the tool in order to work in an easier and smoother way without having to go through repetitive tasks. Get more bookings with all the different integrations and connections that we have with the different channels. We make our property managers to be able to expand their sales in all across the different platforms. And the third point, it's one of the most we are proud of it, which is our support team. They work 24/7, and they are always trying to help our clients. We know always the software can have issues here and there, but our team is always there to support them and give them the premium support that we offer. No? How we work. So obviously the PMS is most of the time the brain of the property manager, which is centralized everything. And then we spread with the different channel managers, with the different platforms that we already mentioned, unifying all the different conversations with the clients, centralizing all these conversations with the different SMS, WhatsApp, or emails in order to contact the clients. Obviously with the automations, and this is one of the things that we're going to focus on this webinar, since we are integrating with Remote Lock, and we are helping the property managers in order to establish better processes and to forget a little bit, as we mentioned before, about repetitive tasks, such as doing check-ins or getting access to the housekeepers. So of course, Stuart will talk more about it later. And one of the things as we have as well, we are really proud of it, is the booking engine. We have developed a nice website solution that, if you would like to know more, obviously we can speak about later, which is through our booking engine to get direct bookings and through a WordPress connection that we have established. So some of the main features, that was one more or less the processes for all Hostify, but as we already mentioned, the different connections that we have with the main channels in the industry, the different website builders that we have, which is the booking engine and the WordPress site. Then the unified inbox, as we mentioned, not just the connection with the channels, but also actually as well the connection with the messaging platforms such as Booking, Airbnb, in order to have everything centralized in one same place. We give as well the owner's portal, which is obviously to provide real information to all your owners in real time without having to explain every time that is coming a new booking. So they will be able to access and have clear data about how their properties are performing and how much is going to be the revenue at the end of the month. All the automations, again, as we mentioned, not just for tasks, but also for payments, for messaging, that will come later a little bit more deeper. And all the analytics. We have a very robust reporting area in many different sections, such as for transactions, for property performance, for reservations, etc., etc. So as we mentioned, we will focus a little bit on automations today. And of course, through Hostify, you can create many different automations, such as messages that we mentioned already. You can create different ways to communicate it, either via email, via SMS, via the platform. You can set up different variables in order to fetch the data that you would like to send to the client already and personalize these messages. And a note on this, of course, one of the things that we're going to do with Remote Lock, of course, will be to automate the codes in order to be sent to the client. So that will be another process that the client can forget about it. Create many tasks, such as for housekeeping, for inspections, or for check-in, in order to automate all this process and notify all your assignees. So it makes it smoother and easier for the manager to track all the work that the employees are doing. Automate all the payments. Of course, through our connections via Stripe or PayPal, you can either send payment requests, you can automate your payments, you can catch the 20% upon reservation and then catch the other 80% remaining upon arrival. You can automate the payment for the deposits, then release it as well 3 days after they check out. So it will make easier as well all these painful going after the money for the clients. We do as well an automatic review especially for Airbnb, to automate these reviews that you will have to do after every checkout, and then set unique triggers, obviously, to set up any kind of trigger upon reservation, upon payment successful, upon new message received. So all these triggers, they can be set up. So this was a little bit about Hostify. So we're just going to speak now. I'm going to pass to Stuart to let us know about Remote Lock.
Yeah, thanks for that. Well, yeah, as you can see there, Remote Lock, we've been around for 7 or 8 years now in the UK and Europe, but we were founded in 2011, which is 11 years ago. Available in 65 growing countries. Our primary market really has been in vacation rental, and that's our strongest market. But in the last couple of years, we've really moved into multifamily and commercial and lots of other verticals as the demand for access control software has increased. I guess the most important thing, there's kind of 4 main points to our software. And the main one I always think is that we support multiple brands of smartlock. So everything from Yale, August, Key & Code, Schley, Kwikset, Mercury, Igloo, and we've got new integrations underway with TT Lock, Salto, and Dormakaba, to name but a few. So the idea is that it doesn't really matter which type of smart lock that you put on the door or your main entrance. We can interface with it. Similarly with credentials, our main credential has always been PIN code, and that's really the primary one that's used in vacation rental. You send the guest a PIN code and they use that PIN code to access the property. It's a time-sensitive PIN code, so it will only work for the time that you specify. But we also support fobs, mobile credentials via mobile phone. We're working on QR codes at the moment, and even facial recognition. So there's a wide range of credentials. And the other one I should mention is algorithms. So if you have a lock that has got no Wi-Fi nearby, you can use our algorithmic locks to send a PIN code. That takes us around to kind of any door. Again, we have in Europe, there's lots, oops, sorry about that. We have lots of door types. So it could be anything from timber doors, UPVC plastic doors, composite doors, sliding doors, metal gates, garage doors, elevators. We have pretty much can advise on a solution for every kind of door. And yeah, I mean, that pretty much covers the main aspects of our product portfolio. You can go on to the, here we go. So I suppose the benefit, or one of the main benefits of our software platform, as well as supporting all the different lock brands, is that we have an enterprise-grade application. So we don't expect you as the property owner to manage everything off a smartphone app. We have a really well-developed desktop application which you can use to manage your properties. One thing I should say, when you're automated and with Hostify, you don't really use the software that much, our software platform, because everything's really happening in the background. So the whole thing is automated. What that means is, say, when the guest books an Airbnb, the code generation all happens in the background, and the messaging of that code will happen through Hostify. The only time you really need to log into our front end of the software is if you wanted maybe to create codes for your cleaners or your staff or people that need kind of regular access to help maintain the property. The software also supports multiple admins, so you can set up members of staff with different administration rights, so they don't have access to everything. You can also set up schedules for those members of staff. So you might decide that cleaners don't really need to be in after 2 in the afternoon through till maybe 7 in the morning. So you can set up schedules, and we also have a full audit trail as well. So when you can go in and you can see when codes were used. So when the cleaner says, hey, I was there at 11 o'clock, but the software will tell you they were there at 11:30 or 12. So you're able to check all those event histories and export them into like a CSV file and use them in other ways. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it about the platform. We kind of covered door types. As I say, we try and assist customers in finding a solution for all kinds of doors through the range of smart locks that we offer, that we support. The automation, again, I think we probably covered that. It's basically means that when that guest makes the booking on any of the platforms like Booking.com, Airbnb, and so on, everything happens in the background. It's very hands-off. You don't need to do anything. Cleaners maintenance, again, you can create codes quite easily for cleaners maintenance or any members of staff from the software. Members and roles, again, it's just the same. You can specify lots of different permissions for different members of staff. So they don't have access to all the properties, just whichever doors you want to give them access to. Our solution is global. You can set up as many locations in any time zone. So if you've got a wide property portfolio with properties all over the world, they can all be managed from one central location. I mean, with contactless access, with the onset of COVID, what we've found is there's been a huge shift towards keyless access. The days of the meet and greet where you meet the guest and hand over the keys, I think is long gone. And what we found is that most guests actually prefer not to be having given a tour of the property and handing over keys. They like to arrive when they want on their terms and access the property. Also being able to access the property 24/7 and not having to be tied down to, you've got to be there before 9 p.m. So that really helps with guests. Guests really like the idea of not having to carry keys around. It also means there's no keys to lose. And from a security point of view, generally most of the locks that we recommend have auto lock enabled, so they're self-locking. So when the guest pulls the door shut, the door is locked. So you're not relying on the guest to lock the door. The door will be locked. Our platform is suitable for whether you've got one property or you've got 500 or 1,000. We can scale with you depending on your business requirements. So it is fully scalable, and the tracking and auditing we've already covered. You can export data to spreadsheets for additional tracking.
This is a little bit, as we mentioned, like why the profit and the benefit, and already as Stuart mentioned a little bit, you might not even need to access remote lock once you have set it up, all the automations, just maybe as he mentioned, to time provide accesses to the employees or to check who is actually in the property, which I think is a very cool feature. And as we mentioned, integration, it will be quite straightforward. So reservation will come into Hostify, independently from which platform it's going to come, Airbnb, Booking.com, or vrbo, any of the platforms that we work for. That information will be sent to RemoteLock, so they know that they have a new reservation, that they will have to provide a new code, depending on the log that you establish and the rules that you have. And then this information will be back to Hostify, and then again, it will be transferred and automated to the different setups that you've done in Hostify to either communicate these codes to the client, maybe 24 hours before check-in or upon arrival, and then maybe even to your team, to your tasking team, to your maintenance team, or anything like that. No, so at the end, we see a lot of benefits here. We can see how the industry and how Stuart already mentioned as well, like clients prefer to straight away access and not being tied to the schedules of not checking after 9 o'clock. I think the industry has evolved a lot and quite fast in the last 2 years. So yeah, really excited to start getting clients to offer this service that Remote Lock can provide to our clients. So, and finally, we're going to do some questions and answers. Let me just check, get back to screen. All right. Okay. So we're back here now to start. Okay, and to myself. All right, so any questions that anyone may have from the webinar we just got? Any questions for either for me, for Stuart, and we got the first one. So can I give access, can I give my guest access through Hostify, or does it have to be from the more remote lock platform? So obviously the software at the end, the log, correct me if I'm wrong, Stuart, it will come from Remote Lock, which is the one that is going to provide the codes, even though it's going through Hostify.
That's correct. I mean, the thing is, when you use the integration through Hostify, all the guest codes are created automatically. Mm-hmm. But if you needed to create a manual code, you can still have a login to our front end to be able to create codes for other guests or for staff or tradesmen or whoever.
Okay. Let's see if we have more questions. In any case, once we finish the webinar, if anyone has any questions or would like to go through a demo, you're more than welcome to come and visit us. And so we have another question from one client. Does Hostify has an accounting model? Yeah, we just have developed a new accounting model, which will provide invoices not just to your clients, but final statements as well to your property owners. Not really. Any other questions? What type of lock is supporting remote lock? That's my first word.
What type of lock?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we support lots of different types of lock from all the brands that we mentioned, but to drill down a bit deeper, we've got like deadbolt locks, mortise locks, locks for multi-points where you pull the handle up, electric strike locks, magnetic locks, Eurocylinder locks. Yeah, I think that's pretty much covers it. We pretty much got a solution for every type of lock out there.
Could my guest change the code?
With our locks that we offer, the Wi-Fi locks, the guest cannot change the code. We have an algorithmic lock, which is great, where you've got location and it doesn't have Wi-Fi. Our system generates a 9-digit or 10-digit code that you give to the guest. When the guest shows up at the property, they type that 9-digit code in. They then have the opportunity, if they wanted to create their own code to use for the rest of the stay, they can press a few more buttons and change that 9-digit to a 4-digit code and use it for the duration of the stay. So that's the only time I can think that the guest can change the code.
Another one for you, Stuart. Are you planning to support Salto door locks?
Yes, Salto is on our development roadmap. It's scheduled to start later this year. And by the end of this year, we will probably have about 12 to 15 of the top smart lock brands supported in the software, which means that you can mix and match. So you might have a Yale lock on an apartment door, and you may have a quick set lock on a front common door. One thing I should also point out, we have a really great feature in our software called Common Door, which lots of our customers use. And what that means is you've got maybe a main apartment building, you've got a main front door to the building, and then you've got several apartments in the building. With our system, you can set the front door up as a common door, so that whenever you create a code for any of the apartment doors, that same PIN code will be sent to the front door. So your guest only has one PIN code to use. They don't have to use multiple PIN codes to get into the building and into the apartment.
That's really cool. If there is any problem with any code or client, do you have 24-hour support team to assist you?
We're based in the US and we're based in Europe, so we don't have 24/7 support. So there's a few hours through the night where we're not available. However, what we do when we recommend with customers is you always create a couple of emergency codes that you have on hand in case there ever was a problem, so that if a guest called up and said, I can't gain access because the code's not working for whatever reason, then you could give them an emergency code and they would gain access through the emergency code. Or you could potentially open the lock remotely from our software. So just send an unlock command and send it to the property to let the guest in. So there's various things you can do to mitigate any risk with with codes not working.
And just a question as well for myself, actually, that comes up. So what happens if the lock doesn't open at all? Can it be there is no batteries, or it doesn't have connection to Wi-Fi and there is no way to open it?
What I should point out is with a lot of the Wi-Fi locks store the codes in the lock. So we don't need Wi-Fi all the time. So when you create the code in the software, it gets sent to the lock every time the lock connects. And then once the code is stored in the lock, it doesn't really then matter if Wi-Fi goes down because the code has already been stored there. However, with pretty much every lock that we're involved with, there's always a manual key backup. So if someone let the batteries go completely flat and you just and it wasn't any power to the lock, you can always use the backup key to gain access, which I think is obviously really important.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. I don't see any other questions coming up. In any case, as I mentioned before, you have all our emails, either mine or Stuart or any of the representative sales for Remote Lock, in order to contact us and get more information, go through a demo, and get to know more about both products. So that's pretty much it. Thank you very much. Unless you want to add anything else, Stuart.
No, thank you. That was great. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat.
All right. Thank you for you to attending, and really excited to start getting more connections and more clients together. Thank you very much, Stuart.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.